I mean, if it works for you, it doesn't work for everybody. But if it works for you, and you have the right kind of, especially for me, if you have like a social interaction with someone in VR, then you cannot come away with any other conclusion that this is going to like significantly change how people interact and do things in the future.
The meaning of life? To live life.
It's freeing. It's very freeing when you're an avatar and you're in a space that kind of defies reality. So you feel like you could be anyone or be anything and do anything you want to. So when I'm in there and I see people around me, I much more freely talk to people. I'll do like crazy dance moves and things like that. Things I would never do in real life.
How do you go to school? How do you go to work? How do you get trained? How do you learn a language? How do you meet your loved one? How do you interact with your family? How do you, like, basically everything human beings do, you can do virtually. I've only thought of 2 things you can't do. Actually producing an offspring and eating.
This is Linden Lab, creators of Second Life.
I signed up for Second Life about a year ago. Back then, my life was so great that I literally wanted a second one. In my second life, I was also a paper salesman, and I was also named White. Absolutely everything was the same, except I could fly.
We sat down with some of the team to hear about their latest endeavor, SANSAR.
So, SANSAR is a sort of Sanskrit word for world, or Hindi word as well, meaning world or universe. And there was a region inside of Second Life called SANSAR, which is another spelling of the word also used. So the code name for SANSAR started as SANSAR.
The dream of SANSAR, I think, is a user-generated universe, a new universe that's user-generated.
Not even thinking VR at that point. Just kind of a new virtual world engine, based off the learnings from Second Life.
One of the fastest growing sites on the internet is a 3D world, and it's not a game.
So this was like 5 years ago, and I think that's when, a few months into it, that sort of the Oculus event happened.
That's kind of our bread and butter as a company.
Facebook bought Oculus for crazy money.
Paying $2 billion for the privately held Oculus VR.
Which in the long run might not be so crazy. Well, I'm betting it won't be crazy. It will look like a great buy.
VR is going to change our lives in every single way, quite honestly. I was, when I first interviewed with Abe 3 years ago, I hadn't done much VR, and I got in and I met him on Mars. He was in some other part of the building, and it was transformative, and I just suddenly saw the future.
There was hype and how quickly it was going to change.
And we think we're at a tipping point where the devices are at a certain price point. The consumer interest is now starting to build.
But having been around for a long time, you kind of know that people overreact on what's possible in the short term and sort of underreact to what's possible in the long term. So that's why we made it so that SANSAR could be both desktop and VR.
People can import models into SANSAR. Those can be FBX or OBJ. People can import scripts. People can import animations.
Giving people an economy to sort of have real, meaningful lives within that world.
So in theory, the only thing we manage is the exchange rate, and it's set. So 100 SANSAR dollars to every dollar, and then free for all. It's a market economy. Come in and make money.
Creating the entire avatar systems where people can create an identity.
We wanted it to look stylized, but not overly stylized where it kind of looked cartoony.
Get the scale and performance to make it be sort of large and magnificent, but also performant enough that you can get your 90 FPS.
It's a real challenge to fit AI, animation, physics, rendering all into a much smaller time slice, about 11 milliseconds.
There will be a lot of virtual worlds over time, a lot of them. I mean, you already have, you know, between Second Life and SANSAR and High Fidelity and VR Chat and Rec Room. And I think virtual interaction will displace physical interaction more and more and more and more over time. So, I mean, you watch younger generation, the amount of screen time versus older generation, I mean, that's just kind of a trend you're seeing. And as these technologies become more and more comfortable, easier to use, more affordable, and the experiences are more relevant, it's just going to continue. And that trend is obviously going to continue. It's not like shit is going to get worse. It's just going to get better.
If a popular gaming engine updates, everybody's content on that engine will have to be updated. And then they have to rebuild it, or maybe it's broken forever. And so we didn't want that to happen, so we built our own engine.
We kind of give people a blank slate. When you give people a blank slate, you add complexity because they have to fill it with something, versus giving them pre-made worlds to play in or socialize in.
I don't know, this is how I would start. If I was just a user and wanted to make a scene. Just come up with ideas on my own or brainstorm with friends of something that could be cool. Then you find a template that you would think would be a decent starting point, and then from there you can go into the SANSAR store, and you know, if you come up with, oh, I want to do a medieval fantasy thing, go into the store and just trying to find what you can that would fit into that. If you're someone who's pretty adept at 3D, like you could start making some of your own stuff in Maya or ZBrush or things like that. So just kind of having an idea of like what you want your scene to be and the intention that you have will help guide you through it.
You gotta think about where people can go, what they can see, how they can interact with physical objects, how you can make it so that they feel like they're in their avatar. How do you make it so that if your avatar is a T-Rex with little short arms, that they feel like they're controlling those arms one-to-one?
We wanted it to look stylized, but not overly stylized where it kind of looked cartoony. Hello. So it was sort of this, but we didn't want it to be aiming for like a realism where then you get the uncanny valley and then they just feel odd and off.
We've definitely tried to provide the possibilities for a lot of different types of worlds to be made, as opposed to like a type of a world. Remains to be seen if that's sort of a winning formula or not.
One of the formulas SANSAR is betting on is their in-game economy.
Quality creators are going to want something in return for the work they do. So we put in from the beginning that people can buy and sell things.
I'm just trying to put some stuff on the store before I go to bed. Be productive.
Whether it's a shirt or a palm tree or whatever, and sell it on the marketplace. And as I accumulate SANSAR dollars, at the end of the day, I can get those converted back to real money, so I can go buy myself a real hamburger.
I create, let's say, this chair. It's this amazing chair and everyone wants it. Well, someone who makes houses and starts selling houses loves this chair and starts putting it in chain economy, supply chain economy. Puts the chair in their house and they sell it, you get paid for every chair they sell. So you can imagine as it grows and you're a popular merchant that it's not about you anymore selling this chair from your store. It's about all the other people who are selling it for you.
A fairly common thing to see in games, but you usually can't convert the loot you've collected over time to real money. And some are fiddling with it. You see Roblox do pay out to some degree. I know Minecraft is experimenting with stuff like that, and there will be more.
So in Second Life, which is a 15-year-old product, there are millionaires. So there are people that make clothing and or furniture, etc. Now SANSAR is obviously much earlier in its life cycle, so we're not paying out millions of dollars yet to people, but I think the opportunity is there when the users start coming in, at least more than we have now, to get to that kind of scale. And if you come in early, you're able to kind of set yourself up as an early creator and someone who creates whatever it is, clothes, props, sunglasses, whatever you want.
So we have huge concerts sometimes, right? Where SANSAR is becoming the future of events. That's sort of like our goal, right? We want people to come into SANSAR to do things that they can't do or don't have time to do or don't have access to in real life, such as go to concerts, right? We had these Dutch DJs called Blaster Jacks.
We definitely been thinking about scalability from the beginning. That was one of those key differentiating things from Second Life. In Second Life, regions sort of have a geographic context, just like in physical space. Like we could not put 1 million people in this office, right? We would run out of space. So SANSAR, we made it so it can instance worlds on the fly. So if a lot of people are in let's say this is the world, this room here, and it gets full, we'll just make a copy and start filling them out.
We have smaller community stuff where the existing community gets together to just hang out. So sometimes we'll do what you do with your friends. We'll watch movies, or we'll go bowling in World, or sometimes we just sit around and talk. I mean, sometimes the event is just getting together.
I think one of my favorite moments was World Oceans Day. We had a whole ton of people raising money for a great cause, and we were all these little baby sharks on the beach. And I just, the whole time walking up and down the beach and just like saying hi to people and talking about the oceans and how we need to conserve the life within it, and you just find a commonality, I think, when you talk to folks.
Does anybody here know how to fix a broken pumpkin?
Eat it?
With a pumpkin patch.
Galileo, how much are you paying the comedy act here?
$13.
So ultimately, you want to have like a huge amount of different types of subject matter and a lot of different people being in this world for completely different reasons. Just like in the physical world. Like we all have different interests, we all have different hobbies, we all have different friends, we all have different cultures, we all have different all kinds of things. So
trying to get to the metaverse.
You get out of it what you put into it. What are you going to do when you put that headset on? You could go solo, you could go explore, you could do questing, or you could sit in the social hub and talk to people all day long. And maybe you do both. But in the end, it's up to you.
It is a tool where you can push hard in one direction, whether it's like a cell-shaded, very stylized world, or a more realistic looking thing like we did for Ready Player One.
It's both a place where people can express themselves creatively, find themselves, and then also meet people.
The most interesting is, it's great to hear about people making money and stuff, but it's people that's just like, I was able to actually have a better life because of this. And whether it's the woman with Parkinson's that couldn't really do a whole lot in physical space, but in virtual worlds she could go dancing and swimming and horseback riding and do all these things that just made her have a fulfilled, interesting life. That's awesome.
It's still a beta, it's still early access. As much as we'll have to complain, but it's an amazing place.
And we may have left behind some key secret ingredients on Second Life that did not get embedded into SANSAR. That is kind of the difference between success and fail. Remains to be seen, because it's not like we took all of it. We took certain concepts over and then added some new ones, but left some behind. And is this the right formula? It's not till we get to like 10x or something that you go, okay, this investment was worth it. And only time will tell if we get there.